My name is Ahmet Kuru. I'm a professor of political science at San Diego State University. I am happy that my book, Islam, Authoritarianism and Underdevelopment, which was published by Cambridge University Press last year, was translated to Bahasa Indonesian and now being published by Gramedia, Penerbit KPG. And I'm thankful to its editor, Andya Pirimanda. In this short video, I'm going to explain you the research question and the arguments of the book. The question is, what explains the high level of authoritarianism and low levels of underdevelopment in average in 49 Muslim majority countries in comparison to not only the West, but also the world averages? And the question becomes even more puzzling when we know that from 8th to 12th centuries, Muslims had about 5 years of golden era in philosophy and socioeconomic development. They were more developed than Western Europeans. In the academia and even in daily debates, there are two main arguments to explain this puzzle. One blames Islam, arguing that Muslims' problems are based on religion. Throughout my book, the readers will see that I engage with this argument very seriously and show its many weaknesses, especially the fact that Islam was perfectly compatible with progress for many centuries. The second argument blames Western imperialism. Again, my book takes this very seriously, but also shows that when Western colonization began in the 18th century, Muslims already had problems of intellectual and economic stagnation. So what is the book's argument? It argues that both the success and the failures in both the Muslim world and the Western Europe can be explained by the same thing: the relationship between four classes: religious class, political class, intellectual class, and economic class. When Muslims were successful, at that time they had very dynamic bourgeoisie and very dynamic intellectual class. Islamic scholars, ulama, put a distance between themselves and political authorities. But this ended by a process which started in mid-11th century. At that time, economy became more centralized, state structure became more militarized, and religion becomes more exclusionary. In the mid-11th century, a Sunni orthodoxy emerged with certain madrasas, power politics, and they exclude certain Shias, rationalist theologians, and philosophers. And later on, with the Mongol and Crusader invasions, this, what I call ulama state alliance, became even more powerful. In the 12th and 13th centuries, it moved to Syria and Egypt. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the whole Muslim world from Balkans to India was by and large dominated by the alliance between political authorities, sultans, Mamluks, monarchs, and religious authorities, basically the ulama. And this, under the Ottoman, Safavi, and Mughal empires, led to a stagnation. At that time, Europe transformed. It ended the dominance of Catholic clergy and military aristocracy. Europe gained intellectual and bourgeois classes, which led to many revolutions. And at that time when Europe used printing press, nautical compass, and gunpowder, Muslim empires focus on military, they ignore printing press. Therefore, there emerged a gap of literacy between the Western Europe and Muslim world, which continue for centuries. Of course, in the 19th and 20th century, many reformists realized the problem, tried to fix the problems. But in the 20th century, many Muslim reformist leaders were military leaders. They didn't appreciate the bourgeoisie, they didn't appreciate the intellectuals, and the problems continue. In a nutshell, let me conclude by referring to a policy recommendation, which is that my book emphasizes that Muslims need today intellectuals and bourgeoisie to revive their scientific and socioeconomic dynamism. And these classes should challenge and question the authority of ulama-state alliance. In order to catch up with Western level of democracy and development, Muslims do not exclusively need to imitate Western model. They have their own history to be inspired by and to take a model for a renaissance in scientific and economic dynamism. And I think Indonesia is a very important country with more democracy, more development than many other Muslim majority societies. Therefore, I am very happy to see my book being translated and published. And I am looking forward to further engagement with Indonesian scholars, intellectuals, bourgeoisie, and readers. And I'm looking for their contributions to this debate. Thank you.